Hello and welcome to the More Clients from Your Law Firm website webinar. Before we get started, just while others arrive, can I ask you please to raise your hand in the taskbar if you can hear me okay, if you can see my screen. When you go to the GoToMeeting taskbar, there's a little hand there. If you can pop it up, it'd be really useful to know that I am being heard. If no one does it, I'll keep talking and pressing buttons. Can anyone hear me? Raise your hand if you can, please. If you can't, raise your hand as well. Okay, good. I think I'm getting through. Excellent, thank you. Okay, let's crack on. And the purpose of today is to explain what you can do to your website to make it better. And why do I spend a lot of time talking about websites? Well, mostly every solicitor has one, and mostly, again, they could be drastically improved, which would make your life easier by getting you more clients, more instructions from it. So that's why I spend a lot of time thinking about websites and talking about it, because nearly all of the time they could be dramatically improved. And when they're improved, you will get better results and more clients from them. Very brief part about me, the boring part, just so you know, I was a solicitor, non-practicing. I've spent and managed to spend online of over £2 million. Over each year it's over £1 million. Everything I learned from that I use in my own business and for my clients' business to make their businesses better. And I am a fan of making life easier. I'm a fan of also doing the right sort of marketing. I'm not a fan of appearing in front of people that don't want to buy from you, that aren't interested in your services, and spending a lot of money to do that. I am interested in getting myself and you in front of your clients at the exact moment in time when they are looking for your services and are ready to buy. So that's why I teach a lot about attraction marketing. Someone goes looking for you, they find you. If you've done everything else right, they get in touch, and then you can sell your service from there. So today I'm going to look at more inquiries, more clients for inquiries, and more of both of the above. Give you some outlines for giving you more help as well. What I'd say is if anyone wants me to look over their website live on the webinar, happy to do that. Just go to the questions tab, pop in your URL, and at the appropriate time I'll dive in and suggest some improvements for you. Completely free of charge. Cracking on. So why is it important that you make the most of your website and all of your marketing assets? Well, the main thing is you have 10,414 competitors. Although that's not that was the last survey done by the Law Society. The reality is it's probably a lot more now. There's a lot of consultant models out there where each solicitor fights on their own under a brand. So there's probably 11, 12, 13,000. So there's a lot of people offer similar services to yours, and you've got to absolutely make the most of what your marketing collateral to get clients coming to you. One of the biggest mistakes I see made by solicitors and legal services providers is this one, and I summarise it by saying I used to work with someone who go off to court, come back and spend 10, 15 minutes telling me how brilliant they'd been, how the judge loved everything they said, and then say to me, enough about me, Nick, what do you think of me? Which always made me chuckle. But that often can happen on websites, in that the owner talks about their business, what they are, when they were formed, how long they've been going, what they do. Yet for your website to be more effective and more powerful, you should be talking about your client, where they are now, what they need, what they're probably scared of, the concerns they have, the challenges they're facing for themselves or their business, depending on your legal service. And by doing that, the client will then realize that you're probably a much better fit for them than a lot of the other solicitors that just talk about them. So one of the things I suggest with this is watch the video back, look at the slides, I'll send you a link to the resources. Use this as a checklist to make sure you're not making these mistakes and improve your websites, and you will, I promise, see dramatic improvements, because I've done this time and time again. And most importantly, back to those competitors, they aren't doing this, they're not on this webinar. They're probably making the most of this sunny afternoon to get ready for the England game tonight, but you're here, you're paying attention, and you have opportunities to improve your business. It's a good thing. So moving on, how do you get more inquiries? First thing to say is make sure that you tell people what it is that you do, the service you provide. And by this I mean tell them if you're a solicitor that you're a solicitor, tell them what you do, so that they land on the site, they see your logo, ideally top left. I see logos all over the place these days, but we still read from left to right. So the first page they should look at, first thing they should see is your logo and your strapline explaining what it is you do. That should be at the top. I have this layout which is in my book, The Law Firm Growth Formula, which is on Amazon. If you want more detail about how to make a good website, that's on Amazon because it gives you everything, but it gives you my rough layout for how you want to be, and you need the word logo there, and if you're solicitors, you need to shout it loud and proud, and I'll come back to some of the other sections as we go through this. Second to this, and this is probably, I reckon this costs law firms millions of pounds in instructions a year, and I'm not exaggerating because every single law firm website I look at makes the mistake of failing to do this. What do you want me to do? If I land on your website, I like what I read, I've seen that you're a solicitor or the service you provide, I get to the bottom of the page, you've got to tell me what you want me to do. And most solicitors do not. Normally the page just ends. They say, blah, 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 we're brilliant, end of page. Your clients, your prospects will not take the time to find your phone number, go to your contact page. That's not their job. That's yours to make this easy for them. So you should be spelling it out exactly what they need to do at the end of every page. Instead of having nothing there, you need to have something there that they can actually take action, click on, call, email. And that's the point as well. It can't just be, oh, call me. Some people will phone, some people want to fill in inquiry forms, some people want to email you. You have to give each option. If you don't, you'll be missing inquiries because someone will go, well, I don't really want to phone now, I'm in work, but if I could have emailed to start the conversation, that would have been good. You lose those. If someone's a form filler and you don't have an inquiry form on your page, you lose those people. People are not prepared to hunt around for something. You've got to hand it to them. If you're not doing that, you are missing a lot of business. Next, you have to prove your expertise. If I land on your site, I have to believe that you actually know what you're doing and that you're going to be a good fit for what I need. So I created something called the 2-minute trust builder, and since that time, it was 2 minutes because that's the average time people used to spend on law firm websites. It's down to about 89 seconds now, and I suggest it will go down further still. So people make very quick decisions. Now you have to ensure in that time that you're doing everything you can to build trust so that they don't have any nagging doubts that you do not answer. You cover every doubt. So how do you do that? 2 elements. There's depth of expertise and then there's proof of your expertise. Now depth of expertise means that you have to have a number of pages in each section to show that you actually know something about this area. So for instance, if we're talking conveyancing, if I go to a page and just says conveyancing, there's 1 page, covers sales, purchases, remortgages, leaseholds, extending leases. I don't really believe that you're an expert because you've not given this subject any time. If I go into that section and each of those topics I talked about has its own page, plus there's 3 or 4 other pages and questions and answers, then maybe I start to believe that you might know something about this. Much more likely then to take away my nagging doubts that you're an expert, and I can get in touch with you. Next is the depth of content on each page. This is one that trips up lots of solicitors in that your content, there must be enough words for A, Google to want to send visitors to your website in the first place, and B, for your visitors, again, to believe that you can help them and to take away all of their questions, because that every single page has to cover your expertise, it has to cover the content about the topic, it has to take away the fear about your costs of getting in touch with you, and it has to have enough on there for Google to be able to say, oh, right, these people are talking about this, I'll send them some traffic. So it means at least 400 words per page, but as many as 2,000. And if that number scares you, let me promise you that the solicitors I work with that have got over that fear generate a lot of work for their websites because they consistently add good, high-quality content of the right volume between 400 to 2,000 words. That attracts visitors. Those visitors, some people skim read the page, which is why you have subheadings and bullet points and images. Other people read every single word before they're happy to get in touch. So if you haven't got enough content on the page, you won't be getting inquiries. Once you've covered depth of expertise, then you have to tick off the proof of expertise. So external proof such as qualifications, press coverage, books or articles published, papers, etc., volume of people helped, and I put testimonials because that's these days testimonials are known to the world as reviews. It's generally only solicitors that call them testimonials. The world has been trained to talk about reviews, to look for reviews. So if you don't have a ton of reviews and each one is visible on each of your pages, then you will be losing people because you want to build that trust that they're looking for. So where would you put this? Ideally what you do is you have your layouts building here. You have reviews under your inquiry form. You have proof of your expertise featured in, for me, it's the law society exec, solicitors journal, etc. And you can see this page is starting to come together. Now this is the page for the desktop. For the mobile, you have to start integrating these things into the content in the middle because they're only actually going to see this central column normally. So that's something else to bear in mind. Following on mobiles, the thing that I found staggering and still do is that now visitors to my law firm sites, and I manage, I don't know, 20 or 30, so I get access to analytics. Visitors to law firm sites, 70% of them are on mobiles or desktops, and that's a pretty universal figure. Now, I never thought it would go past sort of 30-40%, so wrong there. But of course, mobile phones have got much better than they used to be, and most people are looking for legal service providers on their phone. If your mobile website is not responsive, you will be losing lots of visitors because A, Google won't send you anyone from a mobile because they'll have checked your site and go, nope, don't like it, not sending you anyone. And B, if anyone did find it, it wouldn't look very good. If you're not sure if your site is responsive, please feel free to email me after this, and I'll happily look at it for you and explain to you, because it is a serious problem that you will need to fix if it isn't. There's another copy of the event. How else can I get in touch? So I mentioned earlier on we need to have a phone number at the end of the page, particularly with the mobile point. That phone number must be linked. So you can see there it's highlighted. It's in yellow, and on your site, just go, as I say, use this checklist, go to your site, hover over your phone number. If on your desktop it doesn't look clickable, and if you click it, it doesn't open Skype or some other service, your phone number isn't hyperlinked, which it needs to be, because someone on a mobile is not going to retype your phone number. They expect to be able to touch it and dial you. So really worth checking it. Again, most solicitors don't do this, and it will cost you, because like I said, why should the client have to put in 10, 15 digits to phone you when it should be touch of screen? Get in touch. Away you go. You've got yourself a new client. I mentioned earlier that you've got to give different ways of getting in touch. So there needs to be an inquiry form. There needs to be email links. There needs to be the telephone, which, as you now know, needs to be linked. If you don't have an inquiry form, a simple fix pulling up there is some software I created called Your Website Genie, which acts as a pop-up and becomes your instant inquiry form. After 30 seconds, it presents itself, says, can I help, yes or no? Someone types in a question, gives you their contact details, and you have a new lead. So for £20 a month, Your Website Genie can give you an instant inquiry form and get more business coming your way. Once you have an inquiry form on your site, if you don't already, I put Amazon here. You need to flaunt it. You need it to be easily accessible to visitors, and no point reinventing the wheel. Learn from Amazon, put it on the right-hand side where they expect to see it, because that's where they want to see the Buy Now button. And you can see from a website here, that's where it would be on that side of the page. And on my website map, it would be in position 6 there, which could be a button to get to the form or the form itself. Interestingly, on this site, the form is embedded on every page, but most people click the free claim inquiry button, go to that page and fill in a bigger form. Don't ask me why, but that's the beauty of testing in marketing, that you see what people do rather than think you know what they're going to do. They will constantly surprise you if you're making that mistake. Another big mistake is putting your prices on a website. And there's talk these days about being forced to put probate, wills, conveyancing prices on, but you're not forced yet. Until you do so, I definitely wouldn't put that. I would mention that you offer a fixed price service if you do, but I wouldn't put the amount, because if you do that, people will click off your website and go and look at your competitors and see how much they charge for the service. If they don't mention their price, they'll pick up the phone, they'll have a chat with them. You've missed the opportunity to have the most important part, what I call the meaningful conversation with your prospects. So you won't have a conversation. If you don't have the conversation, you will never get the business. The only purpose of your website is to sell people to make that first contact with you. From that first contact, you then sell the service. And that's such a crucial point that most people don't get, which is why if you put your price on there, there's no need for the client to call you. They can go straight to checking your price against your competitions. How do you get more clients from more inquiries? I'll just touch on one point. Make sure your site is focused on just encouraging people to get in touch with you and call you, rather than trying to sell the whole of your service. All you want to say is, free inquiry, no cost, we offer fixed cost service, give us a call, we'll explain how it works, what we can do. And that's the purpose of your site. And if you can persuade them to do that, they'll get in touch with you, and from there you can discover what they need. You can have the meaningful conversation to find out what their biggest needs are, how you're best placed to help them, and once you've shown that empathy and understanding, you're much more likely to get an instruction. So the whole point of your website is to get people to make contact with you. Another huge problem is call handling. I have yet to find any firm that manages this sufficiently well. If you have gone through all of the hard work of getting someone to find your website, read your content, click through, fill in an inquiry form, or dial you up, if they can't get through to you quickly, if the call is not handled professionally, they will go somewhere else. And most law firms handle the initial inquiry absolutely appallingly. And I say that based on huge amounts of experience of phoning law firms and having a woeful experience. I've obviously had calls not answered. I've demanded to tell them what my reference number is, even when I explain it's a new matter. Cut off when being put through to fairness saying, sorry, can't talk now, call me back, email me. Call handling is so woefully handled by law firms. I know someone recently who phoned 47 firms and only one firm phoned him back. So I'm sure you're not making this mistake. Most of your competitors are. So if you do things well, you can absolutely grow your law firm to whatever size you like, because your competition are pretty inadequate. Another thing that can hugely grow your business is follow up until you get the instruction or are told to please stop calling me. I've had clients treble the volume of instructions that they receive just by being consistent with follow-up. And I don't mean stalking someone, but I mean after you presented your price, sent an email, sent a letter in the post if you're very sensible, very clever, then 3 days later you phone, just check in, see you got my letter, see if you have any unanswered questions, no sales. And then you let the conversation flow. Then if they say not ready yet, you phone back 3 days later, see if they've got any more questions, go on, and go on until you get the instruction. Law firms leave thousands, millions of pounds on the table by not following up sufficiently. Follow-up is crucial. How can you get more inquiries and more clients? First thing is you need to automate everything and outsource as much as possible. You're the business owner, you're the law firm owner. You need to not be doing everything. You need to be checking your numbers every month and then making sure your suppliers do what they're supposed to do. So if you're paying someone to write content for you, all you're doing is checking that content gets added to your website, checking that your website visitors go up every month, checking that your inquiries go up each month, fantastic. If they don't, you talk to your supplier and say, what's happening? If you're running Google AdWords, and I spend a lot of time managing Google AdWords campaigns for solicitors, same thing. If I'm running that AdWords campaign for you, you check the numbers every month. Nick, how many clicks have I had this month? And I say how many inquiries you had, how many instructions. Then I nag you if you're not converting well enough because your phone's not being answered quickly enough. But you run those numbers. You don't run the AdWords campaign because your hourly rate means it's just not sensible for you to do so. So you outsource your AdWords, you get that done, and you just run the numbers. That's what you should be doing, getting people to do this for you so that your law firm grows with or without your input. As I say, why do it yourself when you can get it done for you for less and better normally? I know so many solicitors that still play about with a website, which is just madness when you think what their hourly rate should be or how they could be adding more value to the business by doing many, many other things. Desk is just falling on me. If your website does need changes, as I mentioned here, because a lot of people get this wrong, this is the process that I suggest you follow. First of all, keep your old website live. I find it staggering that so many people go for a new website and say, well, the old website's no good. Let's take it down and put website under construction. Don't do that. A website is better than no website. And then when you're ready, you put together a brief that explains exactly what you need, every page that you need, what the content is that you take across from the existing site. Don't change that yet. And then you can go to people and say, here's the full brief, here's what I want, here's what I need. You can get a fixed price because you've planned this out properly. What you don't want to do is say, oh, just sort of like that, but a bit better. And then each time you add something, the cost goes up. So you get a proper fixed price, keep your website live, transfer your old content to the new site or get your website designers to it, and only then move on to changing the content, because if you try and do it all at once, you'll fail. It's better to get the new design up with the existing content, and then if you're clever and have moved across to something like WordPress, which a million web developers can help you with, so you're not tied to just one bespoke content management system, which is a massive mistake, because of course you're then tied to a website provider. Go with something like WordPress. Millions of people can help you with it. You fall out with your current designer, you move to another one. It's that simple. So don't let someone say, oh no, you need our content management system, it's the best in the world, and they're only doing that because they want you to stay a client of theirs forever and ever. That's not in your best interest, which is why I've never advised clients to do that, which is why when I do a website for clients, and we only do it for certain clients, but when I do that, we use WordPress, because anyone can pick it up and take it if a client decides not to work with me anymore. So I've given you a quick run through of changes you can make, and I promise you, if you're making any of those mistakes, if you fix this, it will dramatically improve the volume of inquiries you receive, which is a good thing. So go through what we've done today as a checklist, and you will get more inquiries. Any questions, if you're not sure if your site's responsive, happy to help. Make sure your site, another thing now that's going to be more important is that you see HTTPS before your website, meaning it's secure rather than HTTP. That's going to be really important, because Google's going to stop sending visitors to your site if you're only HTTP, not HTTPS. I've got HTTPS at the top there. So that's another key thing. More help, more results. Do you need more help? If you do, first off, I'd say get my book from Amazon, The Law Firm Growth Formula, or get it from my website. We can get 2 free chapters and then get it cheaper. Just Google The Law Firm Growth Formula and you'll find both of those options. But that's a great starting point. That's got everything in there, so you can really get an understanding of what you should be doing and why. And it's much more likely that when you know why you've got to do something, when a website designer doesn't listen to you and tries to tell you they know better than you, you can say, no, look, I'm doing it this way. Do what you're told or get lost. And that's how you should speak to website designers, because that's how I feel about most of them. They will not do as they're told when that is what you're paying them to do. So if you read through my book and think, yeah, that makes sense, I need to do that, you will be told by your website designer, no, not doing it, I want to do it this way. Well, that's fine, but if they want payment, they'll do what you tell them, because I promise you, your website designer will not be there bailing you out when your business fails because you've got a rubbish website that they created for you. They will have taken your money and they don't care if it works or not. So be strong with them, really important. If you then want more help from me and more feedback, and when you're changing your website or you want access to my website, guys, join Marketing for Solicitors, because it gives you everything you need to know about marketing law firm, from, I don't understand, arrogant or silly, but from somebody that actually knows what they're talking about. There's so many web designers that don't, but they don't care. I still tell you they do. Everything I tell you, like I say, is based on the fact that I manage to spend over $1 million a year for law firms generating inquiries to make their phones ring. I share all of that with you through Marketing for Solicitors, because I don't want you making the mistakes that most solicitors make. What I've touched on today is giving you a taster for what's in there, but inside there's so much more detail, so much more information, video training guides, a printed newsletter 10 times a year, precedents for you to use, send questions to me to critique your marketing, and loads, 75 circulars you can go back over and look through. Everything is there that you will ever need. If you join the higher level, you get email support, one-on-one email support, you get email support through the newsletter and the other version. You get critiques of your marketing and a quarterly one-on-one call with me where I go through what have you done what you said, do you need more help, how can we get you there more quickly. I've had some lovely feedback from some lovely solicitors. I have solicitors in Marketing Solicitors that have been there since I started in 2011, so that's 7 years. So I feel that they have had some value, or they wouldn't still be paying me every month to get access to it and to me. Very much hope that's the case, and there was, let's say, some really nice comments from solicitors. So if you haven't yet joined Marketing for Solicitors, if you've read the book and you want more action and you want more help and video training like this, then Marketing for Solicitors is where you need to go. So use the notes from today to correct your website. Use the website design brief that I'll give you if you want that. I've got a brief you can use, and then get your website promoted, get more inquiries coming your way, and you will quickly grow your law firm. There's the places you can go. As you can speak to Christelle if you want to set up a time to talk with me separately, or you can email me. But I'm here to help. So any questions, anything that's piqued your interest today that you're not sure about, email me. Any questions, email me. If you want me to look at your website and suggest where it could be better, email me, or phone Christelle and she'll book a time for us to talk. It's a whistle-stop webinar because I always aim to finish by 1:30 because I'm conscious of your time. If you have any questions, please put them in the box below, or if not, you can email me after the event, as I say, and I'll be glad to help. But I wish you all the best for today. I wish the England football team the best because that would be a nice thing for the nation to have. And I'm here to help. Have a great day.